perfect and holy light of love. In any moment, you can accept your perfection. You can accept the holiness that is your essence of life itself. As you accept this truth, the truth of God that lives within you, that is the living life of creation, the more that you accept this divine truth, the more the essence of that energy is going to pull you to living your authentic life. It's almost impossible to accept the truth of your being, not understand it, not even experience it, but accept it. It's impossible to accept the truth within you and then live in fear. It's almost impossible. The more that you accept the truth of God and accept that that truth lives within you, even though you may not recognize it at all, because you are identified with a separate self. But as you accept that truth, you will be pulled to the integration of that truth within you. It's very difficult to accept that you are the light and love and peace of God and then have judgments about yourself or anything on the outside. The two have no place where they meet. It is also true that to accept the light within you, to accept the innocence and beauty and perfection of God within you, is to invite what seems to be a stranger into your home, your heart. At first, that truth will seem like a stranger, will seem to be out of place. And yet you're also called and invited and finally realizing that this is your purpose of your life, is to accept and live the truth of love. Then the road to that truth becomes the journey of love. That is your spiritual journey. To surrender all of the aspects of separation that you have believed in, all the fear, all the self-hatred, all the belief in struggle, and the belief in death, all surrendered, and no longer being willing to believe those false identities within yourself, and to also accept that they cannot be the truth of anyone, that each beloved is the same beautiful essence of God and the willingness to embrace that within each beloved. All of humanity has been invested, deeply invested in being damaged, in being without, in the belief of battle. Every beloved has been invested in that. And yet the calling and the longing is there to remember and to come home to peace. I can remember having a prayer that would just want a little bit of peace, to just have for an hour a day to feel peace and to feel unafraid. That prayer opened the door. I didn't even know what the door was opening to. But the truth of God, the power of creation, hears those prayers and in some way brings the grace to either begin the journey or to continue the journey. In the journey of love, you are never alone. You are never without. It's impossible. As you surrender into the acceptance of God's love, of love itself, as you surrender into that acceptance, doors begin to open because you have knocked on the door. And the doors begin to open, and you begin to see a shift in a state of grace. You have to look carefully. You have to be wanting to see the shift. But the grace of God begins to weave through your life. Miracles are ordinary and are yours. It isn't about having miracles to fix things to your specifications. It's about the grace of God bringing to you a deep remembering and a clearing of the mind, clearing the mind of its distortions and its untruths, because you want to have the mind cleared and you want the heart, you want your heart to feel that peace. It's your birthright. It's who you are. Even if you demand it, it's beautifully received. Even if you are in a demand, even the demand itself is saying, I trust that this grace of God is for me. And it is. It is, and it opens through your willingness to knock on the door, through your willingness to see a different way, a different life. than what your mind has made. Ask and you will receive. It's the asking that is usually forgotten. Even to have in your heart, help me. I'm willing to be helped. I'm willing to be shown, and I'm willing to learn. All that is always heard. But it is an essential element of healing that you ask for help, that you invite that help. In the world, there is a strategy that many beloveds use in their everyday lives that has to do with wanting people to guess what you are wanting so that you don't have to ask. And this is what the ego does, even with asking for help from God. Well, God should know what I need. But there has to be the invitation. I want the intervention. I want the grace of God. And I want the healing power of love. And in that wanting, I am willing to surrender all that I have made that is not of love. All the identity, all the strategies, all the fears. I surrender. Surrender is a disowning. It's to disown an identity or a part of identity. To disown your belief in anger, to disown your belief of scarcity, to disown your belief of strategies. And as you disown and surrender that into the power of God, the power of love, the grace of love opens. And what you discover is that there is nothing to get from God. You have already received everything. Everything that is the light and the innocence of creation is already within you. It's just been covered up by the knowing of separation. As you disown the made up self and surrender that strategic identity and all the beliefs that go with it, you begin to discover the light that is within, the peace that is already within you. As the layers of untruths are surrendered, you discover the beauty, the brilliance that is within you, that you truly are. The truth of healing is not limited in time and does not use time in the same way. You don't have to worry about how long is this going to take. You've already spent lifetimes walking in the belief that you're separate. surrender time into the hands of God to be used for its only purpose, to remember love. In this moment, the willingness to step into trust, trusting not only the teachings of love, but the transformation of love, the miracles of love. Ask the question in your daily life, what do you truly want? And the answer will be peace. And that realization of what you truly want will guide you to keep opening the doors to the miracles of love. There is a never-ending abundance of grace. Open your heart to the grace, and grace will find you. Open your heart to be led, and the guidance will be there. Every moment, a moment of love. So in this moment, the willingness to accept the grace of love itself in this moment, and to surrender all ideas, past and future, to just be here now. And affirming in this moment to surrender all of the tension that is held in the body, the tension that comes from the mind, the fears of separation. But for right now, surrendering the tension, willing to be cleansed of any tension within the body and the energy bodies, and surrendering the nervous system, surrendering all the movement of the body, surrendering the muscles, tendons, ligaments, everything that has been held as who you are, surrendered to be used only for love. And surrendering the mind back into the hands of God. And asking for the opening of the heart, willing to open the heart undefended. And affirming in this moment that this universe is all love. There's nothing else that actually exists, only love. There is only one presence. It is the life force of God, which is love, the grace of God, which is love. And the willingness to extend that love, that peace, that light to all beloveds that you either have a thought about or that you come in contact with, everyone held in the grace of love by your choice, the willingness to see the light in every beloved. Affirming This sanctuary is filled with love, all in the grace of God. Inviting the healing of love, the transformation of God's grace. And to accept the mysteries of healing, that you don't know what it's going to look like, but you're saying yes. Yes. Allow these prayers to be used as a transformational element of truth. Allowing the Divine Mother into your heart, the Divine Mother that comforts and reminds each beloved of the tender heart within. When I feel this pain inside and I find nowhere to hide, Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. The sorrow now imprisons me. Somehow I need to be set free. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Heal me of my hurt and fear. Reveal the face of God so near. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. As I move toward the light, defend me from the dark of night. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Thank you for the love you give. In compassion for your Son I live. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me. Mother, rain your love on me opens your heart to a very intimate connection. The intimacy of the Divine Mother and your journey of love. It is an intimate connection. It isn't on ceremony or proper etiquette. It is a place of the heart where you're yearning for the comfort of love, where you're yearning for the healing of your mind and heart becomes palpable to you. And you ask for that help because help is needed, because love is healing, and love is given to you as you ask for the help. There is no one that is not helped in the asking. Let your heart sing, Mother, rain your love on me. Let me feel your presence so that I can find the comfort in the truth of love. Don't be afraid of prayers. Prayers are your connection, just as meditation is your connection. And your every moment is a connection if you are in that open communion. Mother, rain your love on me. And expect it to be answered. Here comes the sun to heal us. Let's all firm ourselves in the truth and the light, in the sun, the moon, and the stars that we are a complete part of, and in the Queen of the Sea, the Divine Mother. I'm here, and I'm here to follow what my beloved guides ask of me. I have come here to affirm and to find my way back home to the truth of love. My mother, my father, you are blessing us and showing us the way to return to comfort. And as I am with you, I can never consider myself dead, without, or damaged. La veo sol nos curar, vamos todos y firmar, no son a lua nas estrelas e na rainha do mar. Cheguei, já estou aqui, ninguém queira duvidar, o que meu pai me ordena, eu tenho que afirmar. Meu Pai, vos nos abençoes, nos dando vosso conforto, que eu estando com vos, jamais me considero morto. Here comes the sun to heal us. The sun, the S-U-N, sun, is the element of God. Within the sun itself is the divine beingness of creation. Don't look at anything in this world as if you know what it is. Everything is the spirit of love. Beyond the form, you are surrounded by the spirit of love in all creation, and it is all one with you. You are not separate from anything. And it's the opening of the heart and the surrender of the mind that finally realizes all is one. All is love. And nothing of truth, nothing of reality dies. Eternal life is your life. This one is mine. Someone put you on a slave block, and the unreal bought you. Now I keep coming to your owner saying, this one is mine. You often overhear us talking, and this can make your heart leap with excitement. Don't worry, I will not let sadness possess you. I will gladly borrow all the gold that I need to get you back. Feel within this declaration the love of every master that brings the truth of God to humanity. That every master is bringing the truth to humanity so that each beloved can begin to awaken to realizing that you have believed yourself to be a slave of your thoughts, of your identity, of your rules. So many rules. The rules of good and bad and right and wrong and more and less, and all the ideas that have been carried of defense, protection, proving your worth. That's one of the favorites of being a slave. Every slave believes they need to prove their worth. But the truth is that you absolutely cannot prove your worth. Your worth is perfection. Your true identity is perfection. It cannot be improved on through proving your worth. The light that you are, that maybe has not yet been discovered within, is the perfect light of God. And it cannot be improved on. So all the proving that goes on within the world of believing that there is a success that you must achieve somehow, or something to protect within you, all of that is being called to be surrendered. Someone put you on a slave block and the unreal bought you. The unreal. That is the mind of the ego, the unreal, that has been running its program based on time and the belief of the past. But in this spiritual journey, you're being called to no longer put your faith and your confidence in that false identity. In the spiritual journey, what really stops beloveds in their track is the unraveling. And there is an unraveling that occurs. Everybody experiences it a little bit differently, but it is an unraveling where all of your ideas and strategies aren't so fixed anymore, and they begin to loosen and start to drop away. Sometimes the power of healing occurs in such a way that you think it's a punishment, that things don't work anymore like they used to work. Your strategies don't gel like they used to gel. And the instant thought of that is, I'm being punished. I have to suffer in order to heal. It isn't. It isn't about suffering. It's an unraveling of identity. And there can be times when you're not clear of how to function in the world anymore. And that place is calling to you to begin, to really begin to open to guidance so that you can learn a new way. The guidance can come through spiritual teachings, but they also come with a direct communion of your asking for help, of asking for clarity to show you the way. And the spirit of love, instead of you using your eyes to see and believing what you see with your eyes, the spirit of love begins to open your awareness to inner vision. An inner vision that is like a screen that opens up and you can see what's in the way. That comes through your asking, that you want to see and you want the Holy Spirit to illuminate what's in the way so that you can see it clearly and then be guided to letting it go. What's in the way, you may think, well, if I let this go, what am I going to replace it with? Because it needs a replacement. But the truth is that what is already within will then reveal itself. Your connection to wisdom, to hearing the voice of love, to making that deep, deep connection is going to reveal itself as the untruths are let go. Sometimes it may seem like you don't know what's up, what's down, what's in, what's out. And that's part of the journey of remembering. It doesn't have to be a disturbance. The ego will want it to be a disturbance, and the ego will want to be very filled with drama about it. But the more that you can trust and then rest in God and let yourself be shown the way. To have your inner vision opened, it's not about the experience of it. It's not about a show and tell. It's about that you will be shown the purpose of healing too. So all of the elements that you've put together to make your identity and everything starts being shown to you, not as a punishment, but as a clarity of this is what's been running, and it isn't helpful for you. It doesn't serve you because it isn't love. It's based in the belief of lack and fear and trying to prove your worth. Every beloved believes in scarcity within the structure of humanity. The belief in scarcity is a base that runs through every decision, every belief. The belief that you are damaged, that the past was real, that you were without, all of it. Inner vision will show you with clarity all that you've made that is not the truth of you. And then the blessings of forgiveness are called upon from within you to truly forgive these mistaken identities, not as something to need to atone for, or that you've been a sinner or any of those other lies, but that you were mistaken. It was just an error of how you saw things. And can you now accept the grace of God in the healing of the untruths that you carried? How can you perceive your own best interests and find your way in the spiritual journey when you don't know who or what is real, and when you don't know that all the past is filtering through everything that you think you see and hear? The belief of the past is your key to healing, to freedom, to coming off of the slave block. All day long, when you're looking with your eyes and you're hearing with your ears, every beloved is hearing their past and seeing through their past. How many times do you have the words in your moment that says, oh, that's like this, or oh, I know that's like this, oh, and that's, yeah, that ends up being like this. That's all the past. That's why the teaching that has so much power in it is, I don't know. I don't know how to look on this. I don't know what it means. And I don't know what it's for. And in that, there is an opening that occurs. And you see it. You see through inner vision rather than through your eyes and ears of the past. The I don't know lets in the grace of love. You can see it differently. You can see it through spiritual healing rather than through the past of what has been normal. Someone put you on a slave block. Now, nobody is thinking I'm a slave, but it's an element of our separation, that we believe that we're a slave of the past and believe that we are a slave of our identity. So to become free is to no longer agree and hold on to the past and the old identity that you carried. Who are you if you are not the past? Who are you? What are you? Again, it's to accept that you are the light of God. This is a practice in and of itself. To keep surrendering all that you think you know. What I hear, what I see, comes from my own beliefs of separation. To realize that everything that you think you see out there is actually coming from your mind, your own projection, the own meaning that you are giving to everything, and that is where your pain and suffering is stemming from. And that's the purpose of forgiveness. The purpose of forgiveness acknowledges and realizes and accepts that these thoughts are creating and making pain and suffering within you. I used to believe that worry was not only normal, but helpful. I used to believe that fear and worry were a protection. That if I worried enough about something, I was guarding myself, I was defending myself from being surprised and attacked without being aware that I was needing protection. So I revered fear and I revered worry. To accept, in one of the first teachings that I was given, that I was offered, that fear was just the rebellion against God, that it was a strategy, a habit, and that every time I was fearful, I was saying, I don't put my trust in God. I don't put my life into the hands of God. Every time that I would choose fear, I would be reaffirming that I was on my own, that I had to take care of myself, protect myself, defend myself, be able to make a living myself, that I had to figure out my life myself. That was my relationship with fear. And it seemed perfectly legitimate. So when I was called to turn to God, when I was called to turn to another way, I was shocked. And I was shocked that I actually listened and that I actually would follow the teachings that were coming to me, that were being offered to me. I was shocked. There had to be grace in that first shock because I said yes in some small way. And the more that I said yes, even in the smallest way, the more the teachings began to filter in. They began to penetrate through my doubts and my fears. What I came to see later was that my soul was desperate. My spirit was desperate. That the hell that I had made was endless. That every day was an endless struggle and battle with my own mind that I didn't realize. The grace of love penetrated that stance, that identity. I did not heal on my own. I had to accept surrender. I had to accept asking for help. And I had to feel the embarrassment, the resistance of the ego that said, who and what am I asking? And feeling foolish for praying so much. But I saw these beloveds who were in a dedication to remembering. And I saw them praying. And even when I said, I could never do that, pray like that, something began stirring. And I ended up praying like that. I ended up asking for that help. Every day, was either a battle zone between the ego and things that I thought I knew and asking for help, and accepting sacred teachings, on those days it was a battle. On other days, it was so much smoother. What was the difference? I have no idea. But I had to keep saying yes. I had to keep asking for help and expecting to be shown a new way. I had a teacher that woke up and then I saw that. I saw him and I could see that he, even in my naiveness and my ignorance of truth, he lived somewhere that I had never imagined. I could see it. I could feel it. He lived in a place of peace that was incomprehensible. And yet I was aware of it in some way. And that's what I yearned for, was the peace that he lived in. And all the teachings all said, this is yours. This is your inheritance. This is your truth. This is who you are. And at one point in the journey, I felt for just a moment this beautiful equality with this divine teacher. I wasn't able to hold it. It wasn't that it wasn't available, but I wasn't able to hold that for more than a moment. But in that moment, it entered. And that equality was magnificent. Because that equality, that union was peace. That union was harmony. And that is the union and the equality that is the truth of everyone and everything. It came into my heart and it was there. I didn't live it from then on. It was not the awakening or anything else, but it was the seed. It was the seed of truth that I couldn't deny anymore. That love was real. That holy union was real. That awareness came through the willingness to ask for help. The help is yours. The help is always yours. Someone put you on a slave block and the unreal bought you. We don't know how that occurred, but just the wanting not to be a slave to the thoughts that are running in your mind, that are affirming differences and levels and degrees and grievances and fears of all kinds. That slavery to those untruths have a power of God that can heal all of that. There is the power of God that will heal all of that when it is surrendered. Surrender is not a place that is known in the world of the ego. Surrender is a foreign place. You have spent, and everyone has spent their whole life saying, I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to figure this out, and I am not giving up anything of my own. So when you're called to surrender, it's a foreign place. It's a place that even seems like voodoo, but it isn't. It's a disowning. It's a disowning of all the lies of the past. To throw them into the bonfire of love, all the beliefs of limitation and difficulty, to throw those all into the fire of love. And in that, disowning their value. And to realize and accept that there is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong. Everything, every circumstance, every situation, every relationship, everything has the possibility of learning within it, of learning from it. You're in a schoolroom of love. That's the journey that you open to when you say yes and wanting to heal. You're in a schoolroom of love. Everything becomes a learning. But what are you learning? You're either learning to reaffirm what you think you know and suffer with it, or you are learning a new way, the way of love that has there's no comparison in the world to it. To open to the brilliance of healing is to realize that we don't know anything about the spiritual journey. We can't grasp the spiritual mysteries of love, but we can be led. And every master was led. Every master was led in some form and fashion. Not always all the same. But every master that awakens has the same realization. Oh, I didn't have to do anything. There was no I that had to do anything. It was all the power of God. I just said yes. And the power of God transformed. And I surrendered what I thought I knew. I will gladly borrow all the gold I need to get you back. That's the relationship with love. Love is your servant to remember. The power of healing is your servant in remembering. It is devoted to you. And that's also why it's a brilliant part of healing, which is devotion. Most beloveds who are walking the spiritual journey are surprised when the heart begins to open and they begin to feel and experience the devotion to remembering. That devotion in your heart that opens is actually your first connection with self-love. Self-love is demonstrated through devotion to your remembering. There's nothing more loving, more grace-filled, more beautiful than your own devotion to your remembering. Is there a lot of resistance to that devotion? Yeah, for some there is a great deal of resistance, because devotion is odd. It isn't something that occurs in the world of the ego, except if there is a strange use of devotion that is devoted to winning and being right, but that's not the real devotion. The devotion is when your heart begins to open and you recognize and embrace the devotion to your own remembering. That you are worth that devotion. That you are blessed by your own devotion. That every time you recognize and touch into that devotion in your heart, it's like bathing in blessings of self-love. And it takes self-love to come home to God. It doesn't take a lot, but it takes enough that you can find that devotion in your heart. I remember feeling and experiencing that the spiritual journey was the oddest thing I could even imagine. And everybody must feel that, because you're walking along in a regular life thinking you're going to do regular things and achieve regular elements and try to prove your worth. And all of a sudden you're on a path that calls to you in such a way that you can't even explain. And you begin to serve that remembering. And you can't explain it. It isn't meant to be explained. It's an inner place within you that calls you to remember. One of the places of humility that is essential to step into is, and which can seem like a derogatory place, at least the ego would try to convince you that it's a derogatory place, is to realize that in no situation that you can think of do you realize the outcome that will open you to happiness. That you can't foresee on your own the outcome of any situation that will open you to happiness. How is that possible? Because every decision that you've made in the belief of separation has been made from the evidence of the past, what you think you already know. And it in no way is connected to a place of happiness. You may think you're going to get something, and you may think, oh, this is the good way, I know the way. But we're talking about a happiness that is connected with peace and opens you to the joy that you truly are. So the calling to surrender each situation into the hands of God and say, show me the way, guide me, I don't know what's most helpful here. The more and more that you open that communion, the more you will find that it is God's will for you to be happy. So when you are following the guidance of love, its intention is to bring you to a place of peace through healing, through a letting go of some element of your identity. To be able to have that devotion in your heart that you are willing to be happy, that you are willing to discover the joy that you truly are, the beauty that you truly are, the perfection that you are, the wisdom that you are, the light that you are, is to accept God's will for you. Your will, everybody has a will, and the will that has been developed by the ego is a will that says, I know, and I'm in control. Of course, nobody ever has a sense of happiness or even peace there. But in the spiritual journey, you're asked and you're called to surrender your will into the hands of God, to rejoin the will of God, which is your true will. Your true will is for happiness. Your true will is for peace. It's what you are. And to follow that guidance that will bring you not only to peace and joy, but also to the awareness of who you truly are. Every day is filled with the potential of miracles. The potential of miracles is that as you say, yes, show me the way, miracles occur because your mind is cleared. Just for that moment, it's a holy instant, you are cleared and you've experienced the miracle. When miracles are not occurring, it's because something is out of whack. Miracles are yours. They are a gift of transformation. It's not about being safe. It's not about being right or winning over somebody else. It's not about that at all. It's about a clarity and a peace and a grace that is available to you if you want to let go of what you think you know, even in the smallest ways. I had a healing that was tremendous that had to do with weather. And you wouldn't think that weather would be that big of a deal because you'd think, well, I know weather. It's, it's cold today. It's going to rain tomorrow. But I had attachment to what I liked about weather and what I didn't like. And it became a battle. And I would actually get depressed knowing that fall was coming and winter was then coming because I didn't like them. I prayed to be released from this insanity and to see the truth, to embrace the truth. And in that, it disappeared. And love came through, and there was no more judgment. I surrendered all the judgments of the weather and embraced that it was all perfect and that I didn't know anything. There's nothing that can't be healed. There's nothing too small and there's nothing too large. There is no distinction in the power of healing. Nothing at all. Accepting the devotion of your heart is a divine gift. It's not only a divine gift to yourself, it's a divine gift to everyone. Because as you accept that devotion of your heart to your healing, to your remembering, all those around you are blessed by that devotion. And others receive that energy field from you. Others are inspired by your devotion and your open heart. It's not to get approval. It's not to get anybody to think you're doing a great job. It's because you can't help yourself. You begin to really have that self-love of devotion. And your devotion can be seen. It's not a fake devotion. It's not about walking around as if you're holy, trying to portray yourself as holy. It's really about self-love. And when you begin to really feel that love, you don't want to prove that you're right anymore. You don't want to prove that you have anything to prove about yourself in the same old way. All the ideas of pride and greed and worry and fears and all of it starts to disappear because it has nothing to do with love. Love is pure. Love is innocent. Love is brilliant. And it is who you are. You don't want to hold the past against anyone. And to hold the past against anyone is to forget the devotion of love. Everyone in the world is holding their past against others. There was this beautiful teaching that I received that was a teacher talking, and he said, "You're holding your past against everyone because you believe that you've been ripped off in the past. You believe that you were unfairly treated in the past. And so you caution your mind constantly to be wary of others, to be wary of situations, and to hold your past against everyone." And he said that's like wanting to buy a car, but being upset because you want a better deal because you got screwed on the last car you bought, and expecting someone to make up for it now. It's letting the past go, really surrendering the past and not holding it against anyone, but truly cultivating the devotion of your heart, opening your heart and letting the devotion to your remembering be the center of your everyday existence. So if somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? I'm devoted. I am dedicated to devotion. Don't be afraid of it. It's not necessarily that you would say that out loud, but in your heart you carry it. And to be really glad that you have found that devotion of your heart, because it changes the journey completely and gets you really in touch with the deeper part of your divine self. And then you won't be on the slave block anymore, in the belief that you're without. Opening to the grace of God and opening to what is truly valuable, the preciousness of your own devotion. the willingness to bring that devotion to humanity, offering love. Every moment, only love.